Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Headbanger's Closet. It's your pal Brett here. And for this video, I want to talk about an album and a show. And the album is Overkill's latest record called Scorched. Came out April 23rd, 2023. And there's a reason I waited so long to talk about this record. It's because they announced a tour and they just came to Atlanta this past Monday on July 24th. And they played at the Masquerade in Atlanta. I was super excited to see them. It was my very first time seeing them. I tweeted that day, I think it was, that I was going to go see Overkill for the first time that night. And I don't think I've ever tweeted anything that got that many likes, retweets, interaction with people that I didn't even know, that didn't even follow, just random heavy metal fans. So when we talk about Overkill, they're definitely a beloved band. When everybody talks about, the big four, and if there was a big 5 or 6 or 8, a lot of people's first band they mention is Overkill, being in that next group. And well-deserved. They're an amazing band. They got 20 records, and I don't think they've put out a bad record in their entire career. They are one of the bands that has stayed consistent throughout their career. In fact, the most consistent band, in my opinion, in heavy metal. And, I'm sure that's debatable. Like I said, they got 20 albums we can debate and talk about, but I don't think they've put out a bad record. And I truly believe they've been the most consistent metal band throughout their career. And, illustrious career. Like I said, 20 records long, tons of live albums involved in there. But, they're still going strong, man. They sounded amazing. But I'll get to the show in a second. So this album is called Scorched. Like I said, it came out April 14th, 2023. This is the gatefold. This is the particular indie record store version. And I honestly thought it was going to be on splatter vinyl, because that's what I saw online. But it was actually something else. I'll show you guys in a second. So here's the inner, nice little booklet here. Lyrics to the tunes. Pictures of the guys. Now, look, if you're watching this channel, you probably know Overkill, and you're probably a fan. I don't need to go too much into their career. They're just a great thrash metal band. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the model for these guys is consistency. They just consistently put out album after album of just amazing thrash metal. And this thing is no different. Came out the same day as Metallica's 72 Seasons, and man, you could, that over the next 2 to 3, 4 weeks, you couldn't get online without people comparing the two records. So like I said, this is the indie store exclusive, and it's kind of on like a swamp mud brown color, which is kind of cool. I accidentally opened it and threw away the shrink wrap with the hype sticker, so I don't really know what they're calling it. But really, really cool record. I thought the splatter was badass. But I don't know where you can get that. Maybe that was European, indie store only. I'm not really sure. But anyway, amazing record. Just more of the same to what we know and love from Overkill. But just talking quickly about some of the standout tracks, in my opinion. The title track of the record, Scorch, is badass. Then song number 3, The Surgeon, is really, really cool. That was one of the singles. My favorite song on the record is A Wicked Place. And then, of course, you got Won't Be Coming Back's a badass song. Going Home is a badass song as well. That's actually the second tune on the album. And Harder They Fall is pretty cool. So basically, out of 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 songs, 7 or 8 of them are just badass. The rest of them are just really cool, good, solid thrash tunes. So highly recommend everybody checking this out. I'm sure most of you have already. So that brings me to this past Monday, July 24th, 2023. They came to the Masquerade in Atlanta. First time ever seen Overkill. Super duper excited. And as you guys might know, if you've been watching my channel, I had to print out the tour flyer. This was actually ripped off the Masquerade's bathroom when I went to the Creator show. Back a few months ago, I went to see Creator, Sepultura, Death Angel, and Spirit World. They had a bunch of these on the walls lining the hall to the bathroom, and it was snagged. They had a couple of bigger ones on the pillars in the main, general admission area, but I didn't really want to grab those and have somebody see me and then get booted from the Masquerade. So I didn't want to risk it, so I ended up printing it out. So there it is. They came with Ex-Hoarder, Heathen, and Sunlord. I printed one out for Atlanta, too. So they came out with Sunlord, and these guys were kind of a newer addition to the tour, if I'm not mistaken. But, pretty cool. So I watched Sunlord. I got there, and kind of disappointed to see they weren't in the heaven part of the Masquerade. If you're not familiar with the Masquerade, it's like a city block worth of venues, and there's a bunch of different like rooms and different capacity, and they weren't playing the larger room, which I thought they would. I mean, this is Overkill, for crying out loud. All the other shows on the tour, they've been playing for pretty decent sized venues, and they were playing what is called Hell at the Masquerade. It's heaven, hell, and purgatory at the Masquerade, and they play in Hell, and not a very big place, maybe holds like 600-700 people, if maybe a little less, I don't really know. But I was kind of disappointed that they weren't in the bigger place. So I asked the bartender like what the deal was. He says, well, the promoter guaranteed X amount of tickets, and they sold X amount of tickets, but they really didn't sell any more, so they couldn't put it in the bigger room. So whatever, kind of an intimate setting for Overkill. I went up to the balcony with a good buddy Adam and his wife Christy. Adam has an injury and couldn't get down the floor, so he was up at the balcony, and awesome vantage point. I mean, we're right there. There's really nobody in front of us. So really cool vantage point. One thing I was kind of disappointed in, there was no merch. They had merch there, but it's not my size. And I learned also from the venue that each show, they ship the merch to the individual venue. Now, I knew they didn't carry it all with them. I knew that they would ship a bunch of it to a venue. They'd get there, unload, and then bring the rest with them. And then as things started to run out, I thought they would ship more, a restock, if you will, to the venues. But that's not the case. This guy who does a lot of festivals in the Atlanta area said pretty much every show, they're shipping the stuff to that venue like 2 or 3 days prior. The band gets to the venue, they unpack everything and put it up. And I thought it was odd there was no medium. And then my good buddy Keith saw the shows later in the weekend, I believe Friday and Saturday, or Thursday and Friday, if you will. And there was no medium at those shows either. So I don't really know what was going on. But it was odd that there was no mediums. But the shirts looked cool. Kind of bummed I didn't get them. So anyway, the show starts. Southern Lord comes out. They're pretty cool. Nothing spectacular. Then Heathen comes out. And Heathen's a band, that came out in the late 80s, San Francisco Bay Area thrash band. They were really, really cool. More of like singing vocals than, yelling like most of the Bay Area thrash bands. But they sounded really, really cool. They sounded good. Put on a great performance. The crowd seemed to like them. Next band was Ex-Hoarder, and it just ramped up a little bit, ramped up a notch, I guess you could say. And, they put on a great show as well. Those guys from New Orleans. Really cool, like kind of swampy era, swampy sounding thrash metal. Late 80s, early 90s band. They put on an awesome performance. Both bands hung around the venue pretty much the whole night, so you can meet them, get your picture taken with them. It just seemed like really cool guys. And then Overkill came on and put on a great show. Like I said, never seen them before. I thought it was cool that when there was no singing, Bobby would kind of go to the back, and you could see him from where I was. You could see him back there just kind of hanging out, and then he'd run out and sing. The whole band sounded amazing. I thought they put on a phenomenal performance. It wasn't too many thrills, no pyro, no just crazy stuff, no costume changes or anything weird. They just had a backdrop, and they just played for like 2 hours. They kicked your ass. They played 15 songs, and they went through the 20 album catalog for the most part. But they played a few songs off the new record. They started the night out with Scorched, and then they ended up playing Wicked Place, which was my favorite song with the new record, and The Surgeon from the new album. But set list, I'll break it down. It was Scorched, Bring Me the Night, Electric Rattlesnake, Hello from the Gutter, Power Surge, Wicked Place, Coma, which sounded awesome, was one of my favorite Overkill songs, Horoscope, Long Time Dying, The Surgeon, Ironbound, and Elimination. And I actually thought they were done in Elimination, because when the Elimination was over, I quickly looked online, and I didn't scroll down far enough that there was an encore. I feel like a jackass. So I was about to leave. My buddy Adam was like, no, stick around. So they come out for the encore and play Overkill, Rotten to the Core, and Fuck You, which thought the encore was awesome. I love Overkill. Rotten to the Core is one of my favorite Overkill tunes. And they basically played everything I really wanted them to play for the most part. Maybe a couple of deeper tracks that they didn't get to. But I thought they sounded amazing. And I didn't know that Bobby is 64 years old. I kind of thought, they came out in the mid-80s. I thought they were kind of around the age of everybody else, like the Metallica, the Anthrax, and the Slayer, and bands like that. But obviously Bobby's a lot older, and he joked, the crowd was going bananas, and he's like, you guys make me feel so good. You make me feel like I was 62 again. So I thought that was pretty funny. But he's a 64-year-old man. He sounds awesome. He looks great. Doesn't look like shit or nothing like that, you know. Sounds great. I didn't notice anything with the band that would signify that they're coming to the end. I mean, they would just have a lot of energy, and the crowd was loving it. It sounded amazing. So awesome show. Really glad I got to see Overkill for the first time. Really looking forward to seeing them again. Yeah, awesome show. There was a couple things. One thing to note at that particular show, there was a couple other YouTubers there that I watch a lot of. It's Bryce Talks Metal, and then Steven for Harmless Rebel, and it was really cool to see him. I didn't get to talk to him, but I saw him, hanging around, and the guy Bryce, I saw him earlier in the night, going down the floor. So kind of cool. It's for the, I guess, 3 dudes in the Atlanta area doing YouTube about metal. We're all at the same show, which is pretty cool. So anyway, awesome show. I loved it. Hope everyone's checked out the Overkill record. If anybody going to the tour, I know my buddy Keith went to a few shows Thursday and Friday, and I've been seeing people online post pictures of them being at shows throughout the tour. So anyway, hope you guys dug it. Hope you dig the new record. If you went to the show, hope you dug it. And appreciate everybody checking out the channel. I will have another video for you guys very soon. Cheers.